England, disrupting travel and closing schools as forecasters are now warning us we're in for what may be the worst snowstorm in centuries. All municipal and township roadways are closed to non-emergency personnel until further notice. Expect severe temperature drops and wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Please, take shelter immediately and bundle up. We're in for a bloody...
Hi, welcome to Mr. Case Files Dire Grove. This has been a project to get this working. Dire Grove does not work on Windows 10 and so I ended up downloading Oracle VM VirtualBox, which I was familiar with but hadn't used much, and now I got it working here. It works on Windows 7. But then I was playing for a while and I realized I wasn't seeing the videos, and that was stressing me out. Well, it turns out it uses Shockwave in order to show you the videos, which has been discontinued by Adobe. Whew. So, I have the videos separate, and I'm going to import those later. So in the playing of, I'm not going to see the videos until I edit the video, which we'll deal with. But anyway, we're here. We're gonna play. Hopefully, we'll get somewhere with Madame Fate bobblehead.
Why does everyone hate me? How could they not love Madame Fate?
Anyway, okay, let's just roll into it. With the events surrounding the Ravenhurst mystery at my back, I once again head east to the agency headquarters. I empathize with the victims of that tragic place and find great relief in my own departure. I do wonder if that's the last we'll hear of that story, however. As usual, my comfort appears to be short-lived. What should have been a leisurely drive has instead placed me within the path of an unusually turbulent ice storm. I emphasize unusual as I cannot recall such a violent blizzard occurring in late fall. A dense flurry maybe, but nothing to the present degree. Driving has become unsafe. Wipers fail to shovel the relentless snow from my vision, and I've been forced onto a rural access road just a brief distance from the main motorway. Warning lights flash some distance ahead of me as a snow-covered sign announces my arrival upon the frozen hamlet of Dire Grove. An icy sign announces my arrival in the seasonal and ominous titled hamlet of Dire Grove. Oops, just gonna click on the car. I won't be going anywhere in this terrible storm, I'm afraid. The trunk lock prevents further inspection. I will admit it's not a blind playthrough. 1, I did play when the game first came out. And 2, I was playing for probably about an hour when I realized something was really wrong. So. Help, if you find this note, please help us. The legend is real. She is real. Whatever you do, don't... I have approached the ice-encrusted automobile whose warning lights beckoned my attention after pulling over to wait out the storm. A camcorder and warning note are my only reception upon investigating the interior of the derelict rental vehicle. Signs of a struggle and a hastily scribbled message raised the hair on my arms. She is real? I have no idea what this means, but given the severity of the storm, the owners of this vehicle must be in grave danger to have abandoned the car in such a hurried manner. I will make an effort to locate the missing parties by exploring my surroundings, but first I should seek cover from the assaulting winds. And that just changed. Locate all 50 mysterious morphing objects. And 6 is the last 2. Video camera found. The camera is broken beyond repair, but the crime computer should help view its recordings. And this is the thing that I was talking about. There should be a video playing here, which you will now see.
Sorry. Oh, we shouldn't have gone. The legend is real. I'm sorry. I believed in you. find this note. Please. The legend is real. She is real. Whatever you do, don't.
And I know that JXH2M6 X M what was it? T2 JXH2. Whoop, our first hidden object area. Whoop, look at that clarity. What are we doing here? Alright. Spool, handprint, jack, chain. I do appreciate that the items are different this time in. Since I was here before, I can tell you that the items being needed to be found are different. Mostly. Measuring tape and nails. Cassette. Candied apple. A measuring tape. Shrimp. Overly brown bananas. A wrench. That's kind of mitten. Still looking for the wrench. Great work, detective. You successfully located all the hidden clues in this location. Judging from the lack of snow, this shoe has recently been discarded. I'm here for an extended stay. I could always chop the wood for a fire. Hello, buddy. Oop. Videotape found. Find all the missing tapes and view their contents on the crime computer.
Susan, is that you? Susan? I'm scattering these tapes to increase our chances of being found. The legend is real. This is not a stunt. I'm a graduate student. My name is Allison Sterling, and I come from Strayer University. Susan, is that you? Susan? Is that you? Leave me alone! Leave me alone!
The ID card must belong to the owners of the derelict vehicle I passed. Welcome to Dyer Grove Bed and Breakfast. There are footsteps in the snow blowing in from outside. Much like the abandoned vehicle's door, the front entrance of the seasonal bed and breakfast swings violently as tracks in the snow confirm that I am not alone in this place. Although providing relief from the wind, the dark, unfamiliar interior of the hotel is freezing. I would turn on a light, but I have a feeling the visitors whose footprints I am following probably have tried that already. A clock with obviously faulty batteries spins above the reception desk, and the door to the manager's office is tightly secured. I should attempt entrance via another means, as there may be a working telephone within. A report to authorities regarding the deserted vehicle is probably in order, and, truth be told, hearing a friendly voice would put me at ease. Alright, we need a fan, a stocking, a date, a night. Okay. Sunglasses. Tribal mask. A room key. Wristwatch. And food. Night. Breathe. Room key. A piggy. It is nice not to be battling a clock, though. I thought I said the same thing with Return to Ravenhurst. It was really nice not to have to worry about a clock. Stocking. Right, and a fan. We got a key. Locked. I need to find another way in. Nope. Right, anybody see morphing items? Actually, back up. Mercury confirms my suspicion that it is indeed freezing. There's two. I was just about to say I don't see any morphing items. Really secure that door behind us. Mysteries of the Ancient Celts. An old library book about the Celtic peoples. A half-eaten bag of potato chips is spilling onto the floor. Off-season to-do list. Water via main out by the garage. Electrical burned off. For season, use generator around back if you need power. Door opener hidden under ornament and back. Lock all doors. So, snow shovel. Spring. Sailboat. Towel. Egg. Nope. Piece of tape. Teapot. Rope. Castle. We've seen that castle before. That was actually in Ravenhurst. Both Ravenhursts. Oh, I am too. Right. A toy soldier. Creepy sounds are creepy. That toy soldier was also in Ravenhurst.
We just took off on our way to Dire Grove. Don't tell Susan I borrowed the camera.
This is tricky. So which wagon's ours?
The guy said number 6. There it is.
Ooh, what's with all the paparazzi?
I feel this leader ass. She's stuck against the chair. Hey, don't messing around. This isn't a pleasure cruise.
There's multiple and multiple scenes. Interesting. I'll try to edit it so it doesn't feel so long to you guys, but if I'm ever stalling at a scene before I'm going forward, it's not because I'm AFKing or anything, it's because I'm watching for a morphing item. Now, I did play this game when it first came out. I don't remember if I said that in this recording. I did play it when it first came out, and I remember loving it. Like, I was obsessed with it. And actually, it was Dire Grove that made me go back and play some of the other games, and play the future games too, I guess, as well. Wrong. And right. Bell. And I guess at this point, I don't know, I'm crossing my fingers. I hope the lack of the shockwave or flash player doesn't impair us when we're actually playing. And that I can make it up to you guys by showing it in post-edit. This. Riazzo. That's not. Oop. That's it. Umbrella, mattress, and bell. Noises. So I have a funny to tell you. I didn't mention it in Return to Ravenhurst because I read it afterwards, but when I was reading the instructions on how to install Dire Grove, there was discussions about how Dire Grove starts the truly creepy of the games. And I had a bit of a laugh because between us, I thought Return to Ravenhurst was actually pretty dark. I mean, the fact that he killed all those women, steal their souls, it's a pretty dark story. Finding any 3 Effie. We talking old-fashioned bell? You see the mouse do something weird. It's because it's going off the screen. Sorry. Ah. Not the umbrella. Now I just need to find the bell. Got a mattress for reasons unknown. Managed to spill cider all over the floor.
For centuries, from generation to generation. Considered by most a fairy tale, it was told by campfires or as a bedtime story. Again and again it was told until, like most ancient accounts, it bore less resemblance to any factual occurrence and slowly became a superstition. And that is how it remains for over 2,000 years. Until today. However absurd it may sound, it is my contention that an artifact unearthed 2 days ago in the United Kingdom is evidence that the legend of Dyer Grove is in fact very real. Judging by today's turnout, I will assume I am the only
Outlet should deliver electricity provided that there is power in the hotel. Okay. Nothing but old clothing and some kind of equipment manual. I successfully unlocked the first bedroom on the right in the upstairs hallway after locating the key amid the exceptionally cluttered front desk. The bedrooms in the hotel appeared to be embellished according to theme, my current location being decked in a decidedly nautical attire. An ornate chest near the end of the bed caught my eye with its elaborate top. Ever the puzzle solver, I quickly discerned a solution to the complication and was ill rewarded with an old instruction manual among a stack of musty linens. The decorative ores are tightly secured. A torn piece of paper has been slipped inside the frame. quite lovely, but the water fails to hide the fact that they're plastic. The township of Dyer Grove, the tiny hamlet of Dyer Grove, located in North Yorkshire, holds the unique distinction of being positioned on top of the oldest known Celtic establishment between the British Isles. The settlement of Gallen, circa 600 BC to 50 AD, was a clan-based community that migrated north from Gaul during the Iron Age. If I mispronounce anything, my fault. Very sorry. The Celtic ruins at Dyer Grove, along with its Living History Museum, make the township a worthwhile destination for those interested in learning more about the British Celtic heritage. Housing. The Celts lived in an arched timber huts comprised of wicker walls and thatched roofs. Lands were held communally, and wealth was based on the size of cattle herds. The Druids. Much nonsense has been made of Druids possessing magical abilities, though they were an important part of society. These members of the priestly and learned class combined the duties of educator and judge in addition to upholding tradition through verbal accounts. Little contemporary evidence about Druids exists. The Banshee. Legend speaks that the origin of the Banshee coincides with the disappearance of a young Celtic woman during a festival marking the end of the harvest season. Samhain, pronounced Samhain, Samhain, is derived from the Old Irish Samhain and Safin, both referring to the eve of November, first when the boundary between the living and the dead was considered thin. Ancient lore describes 4 ghastly spirits stealing the woman from her bed and taking her to the land of the dead, never to be seen again. Although none have laid eyes upon her, the Banshee's voice is believed to be an omen of death to all who hear her mournful song. Unknown to most, our present holiday of All Hallows Eve, or Halloween, is a traditionary conjoinment to the tale of the grieving Banshee. The donning of Mass is thought to confuse the evil spirits whose wish to abduct the living souls and keep them in the frozen land of the dead. Ooh, we're getting some lore, guys. A first rare edition, Mrs. Child has nothing on my Rachel. Oh, it's a Rachel Ray of Spice and Fowl. That's the second time they've mentioned Rachel Ray. She was also mentioned in the previous game as well. There once was a young lad from Huntsville. Classic limericks and verse. They call me Scrud. 132 weeks on the bestsellers list, and I heard they're making a movie. Conrad Scruggs in Big Dobler. I think we've made it through all the books. Alright. Not what I meant to do. I meant to back out. Let's get back to that after we solve the mystery. The door is locked. Change. And if I didn't say it already, I can't promise I'm going to get them all. I will try my darnest, though. Got her change. The hotel is freezing. It's almost as if the weather outside is trying to force its way in. The centuries-old structure creaks and moans like an old man rising uncomfortably from his easy chair. How much of the chatter is due to normal settling versus the offensive nature of the weather is debatable. I need to locate a telephone to let the authorities know myself and others are trapped within the storm. The manager's office near the front desk would be a great place to check, but the door is locked. The bathroom I'm standing in is positioned directly above the office, and the floor is already in dire straits. I suppose I can hasten the disrepair with a few good whacks. As I stated before, sometimes you need to do a little damage if you want to solve a mystery. Oh, yeah, I guess you could cause a lot of damage if you so choose. At least the toilet works. The beauty of the snow is eclipsed by the eeriness of the hotel. You know it's probably freezing because we left the front door open. Nobody thought to close that bad boy, huh? Just checking to make sure that there's not another morphing object. Not that I see, anyway. Not gonna change, are you? Nope. Alright. Back to here. Alright. Hello. Mouse. Cat. Trophy. Camera. Angel. Date. Nails. And that concerning? Yep. Puppet. Eraser, pillow. Okay. And we're still looking for the cat. You got me. Dig uncovers relic. Crossed out. Portal key. Contains relic key. Yorkshire archaeologists in Britain have discovered an ancient engraved object, believed to be of the Iron Era nearly 2,000 years ago, Meteor Report said today. The round item found near the banks of the Walton River, near a Celtic ruin site, has been put on display at the Living History Museum in the township of Dyer Grove. Newspaper reported quoting museum officials. The metalwork depicts 4 figures dancing and holding ancient instruments. It escaped previous excavations in Dyer Grove, one of the oldest Celtic archaeological sites in Britain. The figure appears to represent a blacksmith, a farmer, a hunter, and a fisherman, archaeologist Patricia Anderson, who excavated a number of sites, told Yorkshire Post this morning. She said the artwork likely represents a ritual performed during a fall harvest, a time when the Celtic people gathered to celebrate the new year and give thanks for a plentiful bounty. The mysterious symbols encircling the center of the relic, and blah. Proof of the legend. And in case you know, computer slow, take advantage of our grand opening 50% off sale. It only happens once. A laptop running low on batteries is displaying strange images. A woman is sacrificed and she's turned into a banshee. Let's check for morphing items. The hotel's lobby has been turned into a makeshift campsite, with evidence suggesting the owners of the abandoned car may have slept here seeking shelter from the storm. Camping and travel supplies encircle a cold, empty hearth, while the visitors' whereabouts remain a mystery. I would certainly welcome a comforting fire should I spend additional time amid the elements in my current attire. I'm not exactly dressed for blizzard conditions. Perhaps the only pertinent clue, a news clipping detailing the discovery of an ancient artifact, is included here for reference. The article is recent, and I find it intriguing that the artifact was unearthed not far from my present location. Judging from the margin notes, the visitors who arrived before me must have traveled here with an interest in the relic. We have potato chips. I do find it fascinating the differences of the stuff changing around the book. Click that again. Feather, skull, and hammer. And those who may not have seen the previous videos, I say the items out loud. One, because I'm telling you. And two, I say it out loud so I actually retain that I am looking for them. If I don't say them out loud, I tend to forget I'm looking for them. And I just stare blankly at the screen, going, meh. Look at all the stuff. Alright, feather, skull. Feather. Skull. Soccer ball. Next. There was a game for the channel that I played that also featured cold weather like this. And actually, in fact, had a very, very similar gameplay. Which, when I played that game, I think I might even... Okay. I might have even mentioned that it reminded me of Dire Grove when I was playing it. Ooh. Headphone. Headphone. Scissors. Soccer ball. Spider. Headphones and scissors. I thought that was a telephone. The headphones were. Alright. I can feel a draft coming down from the flue of the empty fireplace. A bit of apricot some distance above me. Porcelain lawn ornament lies half buried in the snow. An icy pile of snow gathers about the base of the lawn ornament. An old junker sits lifeless on the frozen ground. Old valve will hangs from the rafters high above my head. Garage is freezing, but otherwise a mechanic's dream. Telephone. Wire spool. A siren light. Switch. Handrail. Right there. Parcel. Fire pump. Sandwich. Secured with a small lock. I have a hammer in my inventory. I could open it with a hammer. A heavy metal lid sits atop the water main. Oop, wait. Is there a doll? Why is there a doll face? I see the office, but I gotta get the sweater shot off before I flood the place. It didn't have the desired effect. Ball. Tennis ball. Flowers. Crowbar. Clock. Sandwich. Wire spool. Plunger. Yarn. Ooh, that yarn ball is back. We've seen that yarn ball all the way back from the very first game. There's something behind the painting, but it won't budge. Maybe I can pry it open. Safe. Objects. Alright. Bandage. Playing card. Eraser. A tissue. Screwdriver. Glasses and globe. nail clippers. Oh, I forgot to read this. If I wasn't so concerned about getting access to an operable telephone in the manager's office, I never would have taken such extreme measures to get inside. Besides, the bathroom floor needed to be replaced anyway. Unfortunately, after all my effort, the phone lines appear to be disabled, no doubt due to the harsh weather conditions. In addition, the hotel's power remains out, and while not typically afraid of the dark, there's no way I'm exploring that basement without getting some lights on in this place. Bottle opener. The mattress is now soaking wet. I'll break my neck going downstairs without any light in the hotel. Locked tight, I'm afraid.
Dyer Grove, here it is. I think it's just up that trail.
Why is it snowing?
It's freezing. We didn't pack for this kind of weather.
Isn't it supposed to be in the 50s?
I don't know. It's exciting though, isn't it? Come on.
Looks like we're in the right place.
Dyer Grove, closed for the season. Seems deserted.
Come on, you guys. This is gonna be fun.
A deep hole was recently dug near the path. Someone has constructed a cairn along the snowy path. Mr. Bonnie, quick glimpses of movement behind this log distracts my attention from the boathouse ahead. So I had a bit of a game crash there, and unfortunately it ditched what I had recorded. I did a hidden object scene right here and got a wooden board. Like I said in the beginning, please have patience with me. This game is difficult to get to run properly, and I will try to give myself, or try to give you guys, the best experience. Too high to climb. All this climbing and still out of it. There must be a way. Peter. Hitting. Oh, Rolodex. Umbrella. Hole punch. Rugby ball. Cap. Cooler. Headphone. It's the next day for me, even though for you guys it's the same, and that is just enough time to make me forget what I was doing. Not as badly as I thought. Or portrait, ballet shoes, book, arrow, lipstick, their coat, fire web. Television. Number. Or 126. A torn scrap of paper caught among the branches of a tree outside the hotel was challenging to acquire. I remember spotting a similarly ripped piece of paper in the library, and sure enough, it's a perfect fit. Unfortunately, the 4 numbers scrawled on the note mean very little to me, but I've enclosed it here nonetheless. I can't shake the feeling I'm being watched. Maybe it's just how uneasy I feel about being stranded here under such conditions. But I definitely sense some kind of presence amid the snow-blown about the accosting winds. If there's anyone who's become accustomed to such phenomena, it's me. The other place I could think of that had a locked thing was in here. And we damaged a bathroom floor, but we won't bust open this with a hammer or any other cajillion things that are in here. Alright. I know where we use ores. Back. Bell. Aid kit. Meal. Rock. Winch. Mr. Bonnie, very unshy. Go. Oh, Salty is the name on the skull. No, scrimshaw. This is the second time that I've been to this map that I don't know what an item is. Paintbrush. Clearly, I am not a nautical person. Is this not Lurs? Oh, it is. Okay. I thought I clicked it, but I must not have clicked it in the right spot. I'm going to ask for a hint. What is a scrimshaw? Yep, I wouldn't have never got that. Every time we get an item, I always try to guess what the item is, you know, that we're going to be using from that map. I would not have guessed the urn. No fishing or hunting poster. Oh! Achievement. He's the fisherman. Locate the first student. A carving of a confined young woman lies at the center of the relics.
I am the fisherman. I am the fisherman. I am the fisherman. I am the fisherman.
The young man occasionally wakes and speaks nonsense. Oh, now it's gonna show us the video. So sorry.
You really think there's truth to this legend?
Well, it is the source of my dissertation. This relic that they found is the missing link. You're gonna believe me when we get to Dire Grove.
Got a big enough suitcase? Make sure you lock it. You don't want anybody making off with your auntie. Don't forget the combination.
Oh, I set it to the last 4 digits of my phone number so it's easy to remember. Oh man. Do you think the boys are gonna behave?
It's only for a couple of days. How much trouble can they get into?
Besides, they can carry our stuff.
Speaking of stuff, flashlights.
Oh.
Check. Sleeping bags.
Check.
Oh, it's Matt. Should we just tell the guys we'll pick him up a couple hours before the flight?
Sounds good. Dire Grove, here we go.
Okay. Dire Grove Historical Heritage Museum, Dr. Patricia Anderson, Head of Archaeological Studies, it's the 18th of October, 2009. Dear Miss Sterling, Allison, I appreciate your inquiry regarding the artifact you recently uncovered. However, I regret to inform you that you are most certainly incorrect in your assumptions. While we do not fully understand the piece's function, I can assure you it was not created as some kind of long-lost key and has nothing to do with your preposterous legend. The legend of Dire Grove is nothing more than fiction and fairy tale. Perhaps you would be more comfortable chasing the Easter Bunny. Yours sincerely, Patricia Anderson. Harsh. Someone climbed out the window. Or combo. Bet this is called the Rose Room. Bet. Donut and milk. Avenge us. Donut. Rider. Rope. Cricket bat. So, Pacifier, is this a donut? It is. Pacifier. Sprint. Drifter. No, I don't. I guess I don't know what a cricket bat is. Cricket, I thought, was the lawn game, which I guess doesn't really clear anything up. Alright, hit me with a hint. Oh, yeah, nope. Clearly don't know what cricket is. So sorry. Another recently dug hole sits on the frozen path. Forgot to read this, sorry. My situation continues to grow stranger. After unlocking the last room in the hotel, I stumble upon more questions than answers. A bedsheet dangles out the back window, suggesting one of the students had interest in something in the rear of the hotel. The items strewn about the room appear to belong to a college student by the name of Allison Sterling, who apparently traveled with some friends to Dire Grove in search of clues to some sort of ancient legend. What is the combo to the suitcase? I intend to track her down and learn more about her interest in this place, as well as the origins of the apparently disputed legend. Another recently dug hole near a path in the rear of the hotel has caught my attention. This hole, in addition to the burrow I encountered on the path to the lake, arouses my curiosity about what the missing students are so frantically searching for. A shiny 50 pence laying behind a mausoleum grating has caught my eye, but it is out of reach. I need to locate something to extend my grasp if I intend to become that much richer. Strangely, the temperature continues to drop as I move further from the hotel. I need to keep moving if I intend to locate the other students before nightfall, when the conditions will most certainly worsen. Changing eye. Nothing else. Two angry eyes watch me intently from the tree trunk. Oh, are blocked by a rather angry wolf. Ice and snow have caused severe damage to the bridge. It looks like it's about to collapse. Oh, doesn't it? A covered bridge appears to be my only means of access to the tiny village of Dyer Grove. Unfortunately, the oppressive weight of the ice and snow has caused the roof to cave in, and the large support beams have created a sizable gash in the floorboards. Lovely, thank you. Maybe I could toss something to loop over that huge beam to get me across. Very cold river. A wide center beam feels stable. Maybe I could attach something and swing across, because climbing through the debris is too precarious, and the river is not an option. While starting to freeze on the banks, the waves still rage beneath me, and I have no intention of learning how brutally cold that water must surely be. Are we sure that beam looks sturdy? Right. A down power line dances violently across the west path. Dedicated to the legacy of our historic heritage, Dyer Grove, may the sun forever bathe us with warming rays of splendor. Sculpted by the Belgian artist Davido Stevenblort in remembrance of Alfred Tissue's Burby. We're sorry we didn't listen when you tried to tell us you were choking. The figure of a soldier is almost unrecognizable under the blanket of icicles. In the true Tarzan fashion, I have successfully traversed the bridge and arrived at the fork in the road. The series of crippled telephone poles leading towards town have fallen like dominoes beneath the demonic ice and winds. A severed power line whips about before the left path, showering the snowy ground with sparks. I'm no electrician, but continuing in that direction will permanently end my current adventure. I'll make my way towards town. Maybe there's some sort of electrical main I can disable to further inspect what appears to be the path to the Celtic ruin site. Spark gone at nutty. Right, I wandered away and got some tea. It's kind of funny as I'm playing this game that's all about how cold it is. It's actually really cold here in Minnesota. It's negative 15 right now. I realized I'm cold. I'm really cold. One is
Should we just break in?
I don't know about that.
Is it even locked?
My biggest fear with the tapes when I, in edit, play the tapes, I really hope I get the order correctly. So let's cross our fingers and hope that I do. Watering here. Scope and batteries. Cool. Balls. No. Faucet. The more scenes I'm introduced to, I noticed this in Madam's Fate, I start to mix up where, like, I see the faucet. Like, in one of the maps, the faucet was over here, kind of like, you know, on this side of the map. Cool. Late. Awesome. Ooh, there's my apples. Oh, right next to the ice pick too, that I'm supposed to be looking for. His hat. And convenient enough, behind the batteries. One of the students has broken into a small grocery store. How rude. The entire bag smells like popcorn and tuna fish. My favorite! I'm almost done cleaning and prepping the store for the off-season. The last of the summer folk have once again left Dyer Grove to her winter slumber, and I'm looking forward to spending some family time away from this musty old store. Personally, I think Mom would be better off selling the place and retiring. It's not as if the vacationing masses spend great fortunes on postcards and jellies. Mom, I need to remember to remind her that I buried the antique we found while repairing the sewage line inside the metal box in the basement. She's obsessed with that television program, This Old Junk, and wants to have it appraised before, in her words, some vacationing hooligans shoplift it as they do so much of our inventory. I've gotta find a new job. Arrived home, weather was bad, Mom isn't good and enjoyed something they did there. A work of doing why on earth is beyond me, but to each his own. Glad to be away from running the store. I ran into an old okay. Oh. Much of the hamlet of Dyer Grove is inaccessible due to the downed trees and power lines. Past the covered bridge is an old mill converted into a small mercantile. The footsteps in the snow lead through a broken front window. One of the missing students must have come this way in search of something. But what? A diary located at the rear of the store is beginning to shed light on the mystery at hand. An entry within the diary details the discovery and subsequent hiding of a relic around the store's vicinity. The students must be searching for relics like the one found near the young man on the lake. An exploration downstairs will likely uncover holes like I've seen around the hotel. Something seems to be making them dig up the artifacts. A metal panel secured to the floor contains 2 oddly shaped indentations. Any items in this room? Poster looks. Poster's fine. He's innocent. Anything else? No? Okay. A pair of dusty snowshoes rest behind the drainage grate. I need a way to lift the iron bars. I saw you. I saw you, buddy. Oh, this looks gross, doesn't it? Alright. Egg. Star. Code. Frozen meat. I wonder if that's the thing we're gonna keep to distract the wolf. Watering can. Accordion. Bananas. An accordion. Yep. A comb. Ladle. Plus tea. A very little egg. That's a teeny tiny little guy. Do I bet I can't go. Never mind. I was thinking as I put it there, I was like, oh, but there's no electricity. Padlocked, alright. Oh, I remember. I was like, where am I going? Something new here. I can tell anyway. Change, are you? Alright. Lock to Icer. Petrified wood. Bell. Faucet. Potato. Blender. Sledgehammer. Bellows. Oh, I still have bellows too. Typewriter. Carrots. Warm. Sledgehammer. I was really hoping they'd show me the carrots. But okay, I'll deal with it. Carrot. Oh my gosh, right in the middle of the screen. Right in the middle of the screen! A feather. Sure what we're doing with said feather. I can make out the silhouettes of buildings in town through the blustery snowfall.
What are you doing?
Just leaving a note in the guest book.
The legend is real. When are you gonna fill us in on this legend anyway?
An old hunting lodge sits silently a short distance behind the hotel. The dusty furnishings within the hunting lodge are caked with ice. Change. You? Yes. Yes, you are. Machete and goggles. Waiters. Book stack. Spatula. Plus. Bolt cutters. Monkey's paw. Sunglasses. Frying. Fox and beaver. Tusk. Oh, is that what this is? Oh. Alright, hit me with the hint. I did click that. Yeah, game. Alright. Cutters. Something. Draped in ice. I've come upon an old hunting lodge located a few hundred yards beyond the hotel. Snowy footprints leading through the door suggest one or more of the students recently came this way. I could swear I'm hearing whispers, but it's hard to tell with my ears almost numb to the touch with cold. The ever-present ice makes itself at home amongst the dusty sporting goods and mounted trophies of hunting long past. Their haunting glances chill my already frigid extremities while silently conveying an omen of warning. I'm next if I stay here. A door at the rear of the lodge is rendered impassable by the creeping ice, and a kerosene lantern devoid of fuel are the only additional details worth noting. De-icer on a doorknob definitely wasn't gonna work. What is that? I'm looking at you. Are you gonna morph? Try. We got the hatchet. Let's see. All the way in the beginning, we saw that pile of wood. Maybe I was thinking about this wrong. Hold on. is frozen stiff yet somehow still clings to life. Oh, here, fire. Okay, I think I got it. A relief of a combined young woman lies at the center of this relic.
I am the hunter. 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 I am the hunter.
Distress calls are coming from someone on another. A sturdy chain barring entrance to the museum provided little opposition to the pair of bolt cutters I found behind the hotel. It's hard to describe the amount of destruction being leveled upon every frosted surface of the once charming exhibit hall. The entire world feels miniaturized, pressed within an ornamental snow globe. My surroundings become a toy meant to amuse an angry child. Footprints lead toward a gift shop on my left, while a series of artifacts and displays cower beneath the ever-expanding ice. I'm doing my best to keep moving, but I don't know how much longer I can last. It's getting even colder.
We came all this way. When are you going to tell us about this mysterious legend?
Well, it just so happens that I have my slides from my lecture right here. Roughly 2,000 years ago, on this very spot, lived an ancient civilization called the Celts. What is now Dyer Grove was once the settlement of Galen.
Should we be taking notes?
4 Celts: a hunter, a blacksmith, a farmer, and a fisherman, all gathered in Galen and successfully contacted their deceased ancestors by performing the ceremony with these 4 magical objects. Unfortunately, a gate was opened between the warm green land of the living and the icy void of the dead.
Hold me.
Not knowing how to close the gates, the Celts watched in horror as the icy land of the dead crept into their world. But they realized if they didn't stop the ice, it would overtake the whole earth. So they had to close the gate. They abducted this young woman and thrust her like a sacrifice into the portal. It worked. The ice receded, the earth was green and warm. The Celts collected those magic objects and hid them in different places so that they would never be united again.
And what happened to the girl?
Well, some people call her the Banshee, other people call her the Ice Lady. Supposedly, she waits for the discovery of the relics so that she can come back and turn the earth to ice, so that we all may feel her pain.
A few days ago, archaeologists unearthed a relic near Dyer Grove that Alice...
You believe is one of the 4 devices used to open a gate to another world.
Right.
Dusty pain. That works. A display house housing the recently unearthed relic has been broken into. closed for the season. Legends of Lies, a skeptical analysis disproving the legend of Dire Grove. The legend of Dire Grove. On the eve of All Hallows, when the boundary was thin, 4 Celts brought gifts to converse with lost kin. While tribute was offered and the chants were spoken, the spirits heard knocking, and the boundary was broken. The fisher and farmer, with the hunter and smith, watched the cold in the portal shape their world frozen stiff. Panicked with fear for their land's icy fate, they abducted a lass as sacrifice to the gate. Their magic was used just one final day. They fashioned 4 keys to hide the secret away. Some say her carol was not, but lore. The banshee marks time to freeze our world once more. Finally, a clue to the mysterious legend. A book on display in the gift shop has captured my attention. A note I found in the hotel was written by the same skeptic who authored the book I'm holding. Perhaps it might shed some light on the mysterious legend surrounding the history of Dire Grove. I've enclosed a poem that provides the basics for the legend, but as far as I can tell, it reads more like fiction than an account of historical accuracy. The bit about the world being frozen is, however, something of which I can certainly relate. Match automobile, teacup and a mop, a bell, a bear, file. Question is, file like a paper file, or file that you file your nails down? A coin, nails, measuring tape, shaving brush, coin. Someone has forced open the rear window and gained access to the museum. You do it, aren't you? Yep. Not a rope. Standover. My scraper. Clappered. There it is. Binoculars. The bulb. Eyeglasses. Baseball. Trumpet. Baseball. Oop, you know this was made in the later 2000s. Got LED light bulb. Scraper. Oh, you know, I still didn't see him. I just clicked there because that's where it told me to look. Alright. Strayer, University. Dear Dr. Anderson, congratulations on a remarkable find. I'm currently conducting research for my doctoral dissertation on the underlying facts beneath ancient folklore and mythologies, and was elated to be informed of your discovery of such a rare and important piece. I would like very much to visit with you regarding the intended purpose of said item. You are no doubt aware of the legend of Dyer Grove. As fantastic as it may sound, you have most certainly come upon what I consider definitive proof to what has long been considered a little more than a fairy tale. The Frozen Lady is real. The item you have in your possession is one of the 4 keys that will allow access to a secret kept for centuries. My excitement can hardly be contained, and I intend to pack my research and book a flight to Dyer Grove to meet with you at your earliest convenience. The other side of the correspondence I uncovered in the hotel. Among the ice-covered items in the upstairs office, it is the other end of the correspondence between the museum curator and Allison, the young woman I'm attempting to locate. The Frozen Lady is real? I can understand Allison's interest in the recently discovered relic, but link it to a story so utterly fantastic seems implausible. That said, here I am, frantically trying to find the rest of her party, while, at the same time, attempting to avoid whatever fate befell them upon their arrival in Dyer Grove. Icy ledge. Almost slipped taking this photo. Must reach the outlet, but how? The fallen power lines appear to converge on an electrical outlet just beyond the window. An icy ledge isn't my idea of a good time, but the coming nightfall defeats my fear of falling. Just a bunch of random doodles. Tape reel. Dang. Adventures. Rubber stamp. Photos. Glasses. A plate. Unlock. Violin. A hammer and dulcimer. I don't know what that is. Glad I did it, because I would have never had a clue. The ledge is coated with ice. Fall to my death. Whew. Oop, you're shining again. All right. Mouse. Magnet. Statue. X marks the spawn. Fork. Pocket radio. Shovel. Votive candle, whatever that means. Oh, there's the champagne. Got a pocket radio? Okay. When? Some tongs. That wasn't what I thought we were taking from that area. Oh, that was such a stupid puzzle. Oop, get back there.
Oh, I can't sleep. I'm so cold. Are you freezing?
It's gotta be 20 below in here.
Yeah.
Looks like the fire's out. Where's Matt?
The sleeping bag is cold. Maybe he went to the bathroom.
Matt? Matt? Matt! Hey, Matt? Matt, come on, this isn't funny. I will help her.
I have such a hate-love relationship with these puzzles. A mannequin representing a blacksmith gives me the creeps. He's the blacksmith. Locate the third student. I've located a student in the blacksmith exhibit in the museum. Snowy footprints leading toward the partially raised gate pique my interest, so I hacked the security system to have a closer look inside. The young man, like these I found before him, lies near death in a frozen state of suspended animation. The relic held close to his chest matches the one I've seen in the news clipping at the hotel lobby. He must have broken into the museum to locate the artifact. But why? What would possess someone of a sound mind to risk their life traversing this unholy frozen wasteland in search of such a thing? I need to find Allison. I fear I am running out of time. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize this. I've located another missing student. She's almost completely encased in ice. She, too, is holding a relic similar to the one in the fishing shack. Like the young man I discovered on the lake, the girl in the bathroom is, somehow, still alive within some kind of possessed or altered state. Distress call. They should have believed. Don't let the relics come together. She wants us all to feel her pain. Clutched inside her icy grasp is a walkie-talkie that occasionally receives distress calls from another party. Unfortunately, the communication is only working in one direction, as the woman on the other end is unable to hear me or incapable of responding. I have a feeling the answer to what is happening in Dire Grove is linked to the woman I'm hearing, and the strange artifacts the now frozen students are holding. I need to find her. Okay, I've located one of the missing parties whose vehicles I encountered upon arrival in Dire Grove. He's frozen solid, yet appears somehow still alive, as if petrified within some kind of hypnotic state. He is unresponsive, and the frozen water surrounding his feet prevents me from digging him to safety. The young man's frozen hands are caked with dirt and clutching a strange, disc-shaped artifact with a hole in the center encircled with an unusual symbol. The storm is getting worse, and I've got to find help. I continue my investigation and try to find his companions. A carving of a confined young woman lies at the center of the relic.
I am the blacksmith. I am the blacksmith. I am the blacksmith. I am the blacksmith.
A for sale sign is one of the few things in sight not completely enveloped by snow and ice. The barn door is completely coated with ice.
Matt? Hey, Matt, come on, it isn't funny.
We're freezing.
Maybe we should look outside.
Hey, check it out. Footprints.
Dude, where are you?
Matt, it's too cold to be playing out here.
Look. More footprints.
Looks like somebody's been digging holes.
More holes over here. Here, check it out.
Matt? Matt? Matt?
Dude, what are you digging for?
The ice is expanding all up the house. The wind has really picked up. Dry Grove feels like it traded places with the most isolated region of Antarctica, and I'm among the first souls to explore its formidable landscape. This sounds absurd, but I can feel the ice moving. Tiny frozen crystals form rapidly above every surface until glassy tendrils arise like bony fingers bent on caressing my world with its icy touch. A small farm rapidly deteriorates before me, and any exploration of the property must be done quickly. I need to locate the woman whose voice calls to her friend on the walkie-talkie, but I fear I'm running out of time. Moore's spark plug is screwed in tightly. I can't loosen it with my bare hand. The once quaint cottage is being flattened by the force of the ice. Light bulb, pencil, seashell, Cat and a gargoyle. Snow globe. A filthy knife. A whisk. A chasm of debris makes the doorway inaccessible. Pad and a battery. Car battery. Egg. Onion. Pickle. Bag. Horse blanket. Fallen beam. A hornet's nest, huh? Can I not poke the hornet nest? Looks like great. Bicycle. What's the cattle prod? Is this an egg? It is an egg. Okay. Okay. We're gonna change. The morphing items becoming subtler and subtler, which I was expecting, to be honest. There and jar. And when we were here, I think it was this map. Solid mushroom. And now I don't see it. Or I might not have seen it, and I'm completely mixing up maps. Coin. I remember now really enjoying Dire Grove. It was one of really my favorite maps. See it right there. Teacup. Oh, there's the coin. I was looking for delicate white junk. Are you gonna change? You are. I can barely make out something beneath the floorboards, but perhaps a bit of light will help. There's no way up to the second floor. Maybe if I had a ladder.
We need to go get help. We can't just leave him here.
I'll go with her. Will you be okay?
Yeah, just hurry.
I'll get help. Stay here, okay? Just watch him.
Jack, I'm really scared. I think he's gonna pull it up.
Hey, it's gonna be okay. I promise. Okay? We're gonna get out of this.
What's wrong?
Oh, shit. Car, it's too cold or something. It won't start.
Come on.
Did you hear that?
Hear what? You're totally freaking me out. Stop!
She's calling my name.
Jack. Oh, you need to get the car started. Stop! Susan! Where's Matt? He wouldn't stop digging, and I got too cold. It's getting worse out there. Where's Jack? Jack's gone. What? To get help? No, he freaked out and he ran into the woods. Okay, we need to start a fire right now before we freeze to death. No, we need to go get help. No, it's too cold. We need to start a fire right now. What's that? I found him behind the desk when I was looking for matches. If we're gonna stay here, that's fine, but keep this with you. Stop. I am worried about the guys too. But we have to start a fire. I don't know what else to do. There's something out there.
I'm too late. I've located Ellison, the young woman who traveled to Dyer Grove in search of clues to an ancient mystery. Like her friends, she too has been overtaken by some unearthly presence. This evil has somehow controlled them and made them unearth relics that contain curiously shaped jeweled stones. Allison refers to the spirit as the Ice Lady, an ethereal force an ethereal force who forms the basis of a Celtic legend that has been passed on for centuries. According to Allison, the spirit is desperately trying to free herself from another world where she was imprisoned thousands of years ago. I don't know why the vindictive spirit has not used her icy claws on me yet. I'm absolutely freezing, but somehow avoided the same fate that befell the 4 students. I need to see if I can make it to the ruins. She's the farmer. A carving of a confined young woman lies at the center of the relic.
I am the farmer. I am the farmer. I am the farmer. I am the farmer.
Ooh, we have power! Potato chips. I could use some chips right now. That's the zesty orange ones, or zesty cheese, maybe? Fifth helmet. I feel like it's just, yeah, we really should close the front door. I'm just saying. Knitting. And a scrub brush. Okay. Uber glue. handbell and a squirrel. Is that a squirrel? The butt end of a squirrel. And a handbell. I see it. We got glue. Uber glue, not just any glue. Uber. Gonna change. Wrong direction. For no new messages for phone number 206-555-9585. I've located Allison's cell phone amidst the rubble of the frozen farmhouse and brought it back to the hotel to give it a charge in the upstairs bedroom. I was able to get it running after finally starting the generator and easily circumventing a simple security measure to access her phone number. I remember her saying the last 4 digits of her phone number matched her suitcase combination. Let's hope this works. I am definitely running out of time. I can sense the angry spirit of the Ice Lady watching my belabored trek through the devastation that encompasses Dire Grove. 9585. A note translating the Celtic language. The last 4 digits of Allison's cell phone affords me access to her suitcase, but the contents of her luggage are a bit of a letdown given the length of effort I've applied to getting this far. A stack of research papers atop a pile of clothing are of little use in my quest to save the world from freezing. The only piece of relevant information is found jotted on a scrap of paper clipped to the aforementioned document. A handwritten series of glyphs run alongside their Latin equivalents, creating a Celtic Rosetta Stone. I've enclosed it here as it may prove helpful in my investigation. Lawn hose rest, coil. Old medicine and spices collect dust beneath the surface. The wash contains only soiled garments. A hole in the tubing renders the torch useless. But I still need some kind of... Just stand here for a minute and enjoy the heat. Then I gotta put it out. The stone bridge is blocked with a wall of creeping ice. I need to find a way to clear the path. The bridge is slippery, but no longer an icy obstacle. Gonna be fun. Okay. Croissant. Crystals. Clover. Backpack. A kite and a harmonica. Celery. Those. Nokia phone standing right here. Soda. Dora. Blue cheese in here. Just the kite.
October 20th, Dyer Grove main site, Dr. Patricia Anderson. We've been forced to suspend the dig as the weather has gone downhill rapidly. At first I thought it was just a brief cold spell, but this is bizarre. It's most unnaturally cold. Heavy winds and spotty snowfall impede our examination of the area where we found the relic. I can't believe I'm saying this. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe the legend is real. I hope the young woman I've been corresponding with doesn't attempt to make the journey here. It's too dangerous. Dyer Grove may soon be ground zero.
An excavation tent, constructed a few hundred meters north of the recent dig site, attempts to remain fixed to the ground. Beneath its whipping canvas lie the remains of an archaeological team whose equipment and findings have been tossed about by the violent winds. A reel-to-reel recorder details the final hours of the operation when Arctic temperatures forced those studying the area to flee. It appears Miss Anderson had a change of opinion regarding the legend of Dyer Grove.
So, where to first? The relic was found by a bed and breakfast, but it's closed for the season. So we're gonna go camping. Can somebody find it on the map?
Sure. So how long are we gonna be roughing it?
1 or 2 days. The forecast said it's in the 50s, so it shouldn't be that bad.
Hey Al, tell your fans a little bit about what you're doing.
We are gonna go look at some ruins, and then I'm gonna talk to the museum director about the relic that was found at Dyer Grove.
Here he is. Dyer Grove. Nothing too ominous about that, eh, Governor?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Susan? Where did you go?
Allison! Help!
Come back to the room. This is a distress call to anybody who finds this tape. The legend is real. I came here with my friends Susan, Jack, and Matt, and she took all of them. I knew this was gonna happen. It's getting really cold. I can feel the ice moving under. Oh. Susan, are you there? Ah, it's Susan! Ah!
I made it to the Celtic ruin site. The wind gusts here make it difficult to stand, and the freezing air steals the breath from my lungs when I try to inhale. Crouching beneath ancient stones is my only protection from the elements. As they update my case report, I've definitely reached the eye of the storm. The ice and snow pushes itself in every direction, starting at an outcropping of rock surrounded by large carved obelisks. There is no way of surviving in these conditions, so I've got to act quickly. The cold is causing the crime computer to malfunction and display cryptic messages. The headstone at the center of the site appears to be some sort of ancient mechanical device. 4 columns carved into the rock and several surrounding satellite stones leave me scratching my head. The items I unlocked inside, the relics, must have something to do with this, but what? I had to work to get that screen to appear so I could see the clues. Like it's gonna be super cold down there. I can't make it down safely. Perhaps I should go get the ladder. I know where there was a ladder. Which isn't there anymore. Where's the ladder? I need to make the update brief. The ladder I used to access the second floor of the farmhouse is missing. Fresh footsteps in the snow suggest someone besides me has been here recently. Is it possible Allison has awakened? If she joins the others and brings the relics together, we're all doomed. I would check in on the other students, but I fear they'll be gone too. I hope they haven't convened in the ruins. The Ice Lady spirit is released. The entire world will freeze. I feel like such a fool. I played right into her hands. My body grew rigid from cold as I studied the headstone puzzle for quite some time. I remembered my crime computer displaying shapes matching the jewels I recovered from within the relics, and instantly recognized the pattern. The spirit must have known the solution. I fear I've been used. Is it possible that I've been spared only to help the frozen lady? Did she somehow beguile the students and make them dig up the relics, knowing I might be tricked into unlocking her ancient tomb? Allison noted that the evil could not be freed without the relics coming together. As long as the students stay clear of the ruins, I should be okay. Snow and ice spew forth from the hole at the end of the tunnel. It's too far to jump. I need the ladder. There's the ladder.
So if they found the first relic,
do you think the other three are buried around here somewhere?
That's my guess. The carvings that were on the relic that was found represent the blacksmith, the fire. The Celts placed great reverence in the four natural elements of earth, air, fire, water. It just makes sense that the other relics would represent the other elements. Remember who opened the portal? Farmer, earth, fisherman, water.
So, if the relics came together again, you're saying the portal would reopen and release the soul of the woman trapped thousands of years ago?
Yes, but unfortunately it would also freeze the entire world in the process.
And there'd be no turning back?
I suppose. I mean, that's how the story's been told for thousands of years. Although the Celts do believe in this mysterious fifth element, which would trump the other four.
What was it?
Roughly translated, it's known as the Silver Soul. There's not a whole lot known about it. It's thought to be highly magical by the Celtic elders, the Druids. Anyway, if an object representing this fifth element was in some way combined with the other four, it would block the portal forever.
Let's hope we don't have to find out.
The students have opened the portal. With expressionless faces, they have gathered deep beneath the ruins, the source of the snow and ice flow. I watched in horror as they chanted and one by one released a relic into the throbbing light, emanating from a large circular hole in the center of the chamber. As the fourth artifact disappeared from view, a blinding light accompanied a gleeful howl, unlike anything I have ever heard. The spirit of the Ice Lady is now free. The legend of Dire Grove is now a terrible reality. Every frozen fiber of my being once remained far from the entrance, but it may be our only hope. I get to cross through the barrier and try to somehow restrain the evil that threatens to overtake our world. This whole thing is completely nuts. I don't know, we've seen crazier. It took every last bit of courage I could muster, but I closed my eyes tightly and stepped forth through the portal. I now find myself within a tiny ice chamber, bordered by 5 small altars adorned with strange glyphs. In the center of the room rest the remains of a young woman sacrificed over 2,000 years ago to save the world, and form the basis of the legend of Dire Grove. Her icy anguish now begins its flood across the face of the earth. Every moment brings my world closer to doom. I need to figure out a way to decipher the writing on the altars before it is too late. I gather the dust and make arrows fly true before jotting it down in a letter to you. A grain of hope and a reaper's toil, my body sends life through the rock and soil. I am what's left when all water dries, from the sweat on your brow to the salt. I am what's left when the water dries, from the sweat on your brow to the tears in your eyes. Salt. A series of riddles found on the other side of the portal were illegible until I found Allison's translation. Now that I can read the symbols, I'm starting to wrap my head around what's going on here. The ancient Celts must have hollowed out the space and constructed the magic altars as some kind of failsafe against a breaching of the boundary between worlds. Unbelievable sight. She mentioned a 5th element that would trump the other 4. She called it the Silver Soul. Objects relating to the Earth's 4 basic elements, in addition to a magical property known as the Silver Soul, seem to be pulling the Ice Lady's spirit back into the frozen void. If I can solve all the riddles, I might be able to imprison her once again and save the entire planet in the process. Knew I forgot something. All life's variants of form, mass, and hue soon wither to me neath the grate and the flue. Remains of a woman trapped 2,000 years ago sits atop a frozen throne. Messenger God of trade and exchange, my size relies on the brightest stars' range.
With the artifacts of Dire Grove now safely locked away, we may begin to reassess our understanding, not only of the ancient Celtic people, but of all civilizations. Might it now be wise to look upon the tales of earlier ages with a renewed curiosity?
Dr. Sterling, much has been discussed of your experience, yet you only briefly described the individual responsible for saving you and your friends. Can you reveal the identity of this Good Samaritan?
That person is asked to remain nameless, but I can give you their business card.
Okay, yeah. You guys can let go now.
Here we are. Houston Airport. Justin.
What's up?
Lauren. Waiting on the production crew. So here's our director. The production company does exist. Boarding our plane. It is now, I don't even know what time it is. It's probably 8. And we've got another 16 hours. So we made it this far. Buenos Aires, Argentina. It is 4 o'clock in the morning our time.
Oh, is it really? Oh my god, that's why I'm tired.
Yeah. Freshly rested is Justin here. He slept fully seated for 8 hours while I slept upside down. Now 3 plane rides, 15 hours, 3 cars. Picked up some new team members. This is Davy Blue. Some of the olds. That's Sylvie over there. Hey. Rodrigo, production designer. Loading up the last of our stuff. So, we have arrived here at our hotel.
Hey Mike, once we clear this bridge, maybe get a shot of them crossing the bridge.
Oh, so stop.
Oh, there's somebody behind us.
Oh, it's so bumpy. Yeah.
Oh,
really bad.
ah!
We're in freaking Argentina.
And it's freaking awesome.
We're shooting
This is so rad.
I don't think the car with headlights behind us looks so good, so maybe we can all slow down around this after we get over the hill and let the car pass.
Bye.
Dude. The car pass us. I don't want to pass. I want to stay in the movie. Yeah,
Okay, we're gonna speed back up to the speed we were just at.
Do not remember.
Comfortable?
I'm perfect. Couldn't be better.
¿Sigue siendo Herbie el refugiado ahí arriba? No, no trabaja más. You know, we are starting to get closer to that wall, that face of the wall. This ends like that because you must do like a turn to go up. And that's the flat area.
We are at our first stop where we're going to transfer. Rodrigo, oh, see the
Beethoven? See Beethoven over there?
So where we're going to get in these Defenders, Land Cruiser guys, and then we're taking those to the next point where we will have to jump on ATVs.
Just doing a test here. What happens when... Okay, you need the smaller battery. And if you lean forward a little bit. Good, and Justin, if you could move back a little bit into the hole. Back towards us. Great, perfect. Do you have a bunch of snow you can be throwing as we approach? And the slow look was good. Ready? And...
Rolling.
Action. your eyes to the camera up in this direction. And look. Good. And see, do it one more time from the top, right away. And turn as much as your chin towards us and your shoulder and everything. And that's good, but really slow. And action, looking up here in my eyes, right here, right here. Keep turning, keep turning, keep turning. Good.
Laura.
Colorado, you guys drill at home in the mountains. Okay.
Thank you for keeping me company. I will be back soon for 13 skulls. Hopefully that will go much easier than this.